So you have two portions here. You have the part that is the article that you need to open, and then you have the questions. So you'll have to go into Schoology and look for these two assignments. One is labeled as annotate, and one is labeled as questions. The tricky part about this is that it's two assignments, but this article is also broken up into two parts. So I'm going to try my best to talk about this without getting you confused on this. It's called How Washington Works, and there's 10 aspects that they're going to focus on. The first part of the article is going to focus on 5, and then the next part is going to focus on 5 more. So let's go to the article. So this is what the article looks like. And you'll see that it says up here 10 things to know, but as you scroll and keep going, you'll see that there is 5. Okay, so we're going to look at the first 5 just in this article. This is a very current article. It's talking about, it came out in October, late October, and it's talking about current pieces with the Republicans and the Democrats. So it's very, very current, better, way better than the textbook because it's current information. Now, what are you going to have to do with this article? Well, there's 2 places that you're going to have the directions. You're going to have them here on this one, and you're also going to have them in Schoology. And what you're going to find is here, what you need to do is for step 1, you are going to look at the article, and the first step you're going to do is number each paragraph of the article. And when you're numbering the article, you'll notice that it's going to go up into the 20, 22, 23 when you're numbering the paragraphs. You have multiple ways that you can number the paragraph. Whatever you're comfortable with counting is fine. You can either do the one where you're using the screen and you're writing on the screen to number the number the paragraphs of the article. Or you can use the typing one where you're typing on the screen and numbering them that way. That works too. The other point with the writing, you have either the one that you do transparent, so when you do the big writing, similar to highlighting, you still see the text, so the text is showing up through the numbers. And in the other way that you're writing and you can't see because it's solid. So you're going to have to go to the Cami, and you're going to have to choose the transparency on it, especially if you want the ink to be transparent to see the words come through it. That's the first step. Second step is to annotate the text. When you're annotating the text, you can highlight it and then use one of these symbols next to it. If you're writing anything in the margins, you can do so too. Not a requirement, but it will help you go back to potentially answering some of the questions. When you're highlighting the text, you are either highlighting it because that piece was important, so you felt it important enough to highlight it, or you can do a question mark next to the word because you're still not really clear on something they're talking about in there, on maybe presidential power, maybe the Grim Reaper, maybe they're talking about minority, but it's not the minority that you think it is. We'll talk about that soon. And then you have this other symbol here, that's the exclamation point. These are the 3 that you'll be using to annotate throughout your article as you're reading it. You have the star, you have the question mark, and you have the exclamation point. Now, the next part that you're going to do, and you might be now seeing like, oh, okay, that's why we're numbering the paragraphs. Part 1 of the article contains 5 of the 10 things to know about Washington. That's what I was mentioning to you. But as you're going through, you're also going to be annotating and then answering with that paragraph number. That paragraph number is going to be important. And as you're going through here, you'll notice that this one's a one part, one question kind of setup, one question kind of setup. But then when you go to this one, you're going to notice that there are three. And that's the three are here because you'll see the one, the two, and the three. And same thing with number 5. I just noticed this one needs a number sign. And these correlate to the 5 pieces of information that they're talking about, the 5 things on how Washington works. And we're talking about Washington, D.C. This last question, this one is more an opinion. It says, what symbols are being used to convey one of the 5 things to know about Washington? Explain the artist's message. You're going to go back to the article and look at the visuals. What is this piece here telling you about how Washington works? One of the 5. How is this telling you about one of the 5? And keep going. Why is this political cartoon here as mentioned? It probably has to do with number 2. That's why it's by number 2. You're going to go through each of them and select the one visual, and that's maybe most intriguing to you, and explain why it's being used in this article. Things you need to know about Washington, how Washington works. And once you're done with that, you'll notice that I don't have when I open up Kami, I don't have the same button as you for turn in. So some students were asking how they submit what they've annotated. In the upper right corner, there's a turn in button on Kami, and that's what you would select to submit what you have annotated. Again, 2 parts, your annotating part and also the question part. One of the things that has thrown off some students, and I started getting questions last period, is, let's look at the article here. Okay, so you're numbering these paragraphs. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, and then we have 5. So you have 5 numbers on this one. And so when they got to here, they went, oh, wait, that was 5 up there. What's this? So this is 6. So you'll notice that when they start a new topic, they don't indent. And this is a new paragraph because it's not continuing from the previous information. Small detail, but it did slow down some students to ask, wait, what's happening? Is this the same number or is this a different number? And you'll notice that at the beginning of each of them, there's no indentation here to give you an indication, but it definitely is a new paragraph. If you have any questions, please ask, but you're working on both of these. Some students prefer to read in chunks, split this up, where they'll do number 1 first. They'll read about number 1, and then they'll go and answer about number 1. So it's up to you how you want to tackle this. There isn't a specific way.